It is Monday, April 13th, 2015. Welcome to your Weld County School District 6 School Board meeting. I hereby call this meeting to order. Will you please join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Brea.
Mr. DeWitt?
Present.
Mr. Hafley?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Mr. Lydiak?
Present.
Dr. Richard? Present. Mr. Richardson?
Mr. Richardson is ill this evening.
Mrs. Solis?
Present.
6 members are present.
Thank you. Well, the careful viewer at home will notice a slight rearrangement of the furniture here this evening, and in part it permits our superintendent to be a little bit closer to the podium, and it more or less aligns the members of the board in a kind of a semicircle, and so we're just trying to see how you look from a new perspective. The first item that we'll take a look at now is hearing from persons desiring to speak before the board. Ms. Brea, did anyone indicate an interest in speaking? No. All right, thank you very much. The next item is the work session report, please, Ms. Brea.
Board of Education President Roger DeWitt began the work session with a report on the presentation given to the State Board of Education regarding the district's turnaround schools. Chief Academic Officer Dr. Stacy Dattery and Interim Superintendent Wayne Eads also gave input regarding the presentation. President DeWitt then had open comments from the board members and a review of upcoming calendar events. Interim Superintendent Wayne Eads gave an overview of the Dwyer lawsuit. Board members had time for discussion. Chief Academic Officer Dr. Stacy Dattery and Director of Professional Development Amy Szyminski presented updates on the professional learning happening in District 6 and on instructional coaches. Interim Superintendent Wayne Eads discussed the negotiations process for the exchange of openers, committee reports, and setting future negotiation dates. Mr. Eads reviewed the openers and requested board member recommendations. That concluded the work session.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the agenda, which is an action item, and I'll be happy to receive a motion at this time.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Comments? Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Brea.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
And the motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the consent agenda, and you'll find that on page 8 of your packet, I believe.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve items as presented on the consent agenda and authorize the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Brea.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Hafley?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
And the motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Under special items, and if you don't mind me saying so, this is rather a special item, the superintendent's contract. And I think if you haven't been living under a rock for the past couple of months, this may or may not be news to you, but after a nationwide search, numerous cities-wide outreach meetings, citizens meetings, online feedback opportunity, a host of volunteer interviewers, and the identification of a finalist for the superintendent post for District 6. Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you a signed contract signed by Dr. Deirdre Pilch, and therefore it's our opportunity to act on that contract at this time. This is an action item, and I will accept a motion at this time.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve the superintendent's contract as presented.
Second.
Seconded twice. I like it. Discussion, please. Mr. Hafley.
You know, first of all, we'd like to congratulate you and thank you. We're delighted that we have an opportunity to work with you, and we know that going into the future that working with us as well as your leadership skills, the district will be served well, and welcome to Greeley.
Dr. Richard.
Or Mr. Hall.
Or Mr. Hall. Accepting the award for Dr. Richard will be Mr. Hall.
Probably more eloquent.
Move my lips and
I too would like to welcome you, Dr. Pilch. And I'd like to thank the community. This was a huge undertaking with that the board, other than Roger and Logan, they did a tremendous amount of work. But Miss Berea, Tyler, all the community leaders, CASB, all the focus groups, to our interviewing teams. It was a major undertaking, and it was well worth it, because at the end the cream rose to the top. And so, but our community has ownership in this. And so it's not just us. We get to sit here and approve the contract and welcome you. But it's really the community that hired you. So, thank you.
Ms. Elise.
I would like to thank the community also. This was a huge thing for all of us to do together, and I'm hoping that this sparks even more relationships and us working together and remembering that these are all of our kiddos. And definitely welcome to our new superintendent. Thank you for coming to Greeley. It's a great community. You're going to love it here, and we will all embrace you, and we all look forward to interacting with you and getting to know you better. So thank you.
Just one other name to mention. Among the many more names that could be mentioned, Teresa Meyer was involved in an awful lot of the footwork and the sweat work and the equity, along with some of the other folks that have already been mentioned, and I appreciate them. But certainly, we welcome you in advance of this vote. And now, perhaps it's time to try the vote. Roll call, Ms. Brea.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Haefele?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
And the motion carries 6-0.
May I say welcome and thank you very much. There is just one thing that I have in mind before we move on, if I may be permitted to move from my seat. We did want you to have a little something
Thought that I had when I went to shut mine off.
and companies that produce good products here that you'll become familiar with. And this is your down payment on that opportunity. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Roger. It's my pleasure. Enjoy. You're not done. This is just a point here, Mr. Eads, that you have a few more things for us to do.
That's right.
Therefore, I brought you a full-size motorcycle gift card from a local outlet which will remain nameless.
Okay, thank you very much.
But HD are the initials, and we thank you for your
Okay.
ongoing service.
Appreciate it.
The next item is not less special, because it still is within the special items category. This is partnership recognition, and Ms. Kathy Van Soest, our Director of Student Support Services, is here to talk a little bit about North Range Behavioral Health. Welcome.
Thank you. Tonight we recognize our community partner, North Range Community Health. They have been serving us for many years when we have intensive events with our students. And most recently, we came up with a preventative new model of them working with our most significant needs in our schools. We did this new model in response to wanting to open doors for families to get the services that they can provide in our schools. It had become a hardship for some families to go out to the North Range facilities for a variety of reasons, and we thought, what could we do that would make a difference? North Range was right there with us, trying to make a difference with us to provide those direct services at our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools. and we were very pleased with our results. But let me tell you a little bit about North Range. It has been in existence since 1934, a long time. They did come up with a new name. Many of you will remember that they used to be called Weld County Mental Health. And they came up with a new name of North Range in 1996, almost 20 years ago. They have 60 programs across our county and 17 buildings in our community that deliver services to our families and students. We have a school-based program, which Susan tells me is the largest in the state. And it is funded by Medicaid, their North Range Medicaid, federal OBH funds, United Way, they go for a grant every year, indigent funding, district Medicaid funds, as well as a little bit from private insurance. The services that they provide to our youth are individualized as well as group services. They also do consultation for us. They observe students and they give us feedback. And most recently, we have also hired an engagement specialist to work at all of our schools in engaging the parents in the mental health needs of the students and making it a family effort in many cases. So we're so pleased that they are our partners in making such a difference for our students. I know our teachers and principals appreciate it so much. I'd like to introduce Susan Stone and Joanna Sidwell, and they are both from North Range, and I'd like to give Susan an opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you, Kathy. Is this one on?
Yeah.
That's so cliche. Is this thing on? Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to serve the children of District 6 within their school settings. As Kathy said, it really gives us entree to their families and to their everyday world in a natural setting that reduces stigma and increases treatment adherence, meaning they come, they feel more comfortable with it, and they can leave a therapy session and go immediately into the school and utilize what they've learned. It really results in a more robust treatment and an easier access treatment and better outcomes. We're very, very proud of the work we're doing here and just so pleased that you've invited us to come into the schools and work with the children. We look forward to many more years and to growing the program more and more because it's one of our best investments in our kids and the community. Thank you.
Here's a little something, but you have to join me out with a photograph. If you don't mind. This is just a little recognition for the hours and hours and hours that you share with our students. Thank you very much. We're surprised. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.